Morning,
Good
Jen.
morning.
Good morning, everyone.
Morning.
Good morning.
Got morning voice.
It happens.
Joanne, I like your hair. It looks darker.
Thank you. I needed something different.
Yeah.
And I have to tell you, something weird has happened. For when I turned my late 40s, my hair just started getting curly all on its own. And just in the past couple of days, I've done nothing. I haven't straightened it or anything, and it's absolutely straight. I'm like, it's weird.
See, I keep mine light because you don't see the gray when it comes in as much. That's my secret. Because my hair is like that color naturally.
Oh.
Good trick.
What did I walk into here? My hair hasn't been styled today, hence my hat.
Oh, men.
Oh, how's everybody doing?
Good.
Good, how are you?
Doing well. Excited with the weather getting a little bit nicer. Ready
Yeah,
for
so
that.
people with shorts on walking their dog.
My
Shorts.
kids wanted to wear shorts the other day. I was like, no, it's too early for shorts.
I think Dylan might have had them on yesterday after school.
I just don't even know that I have any that fit them. That was my thing. I'm like, we haven't hit that point yet where I go to Target and buy a bunch
My
of
teen
shorts.
was wearing shorts to clean the snow off the car.
Oh, wow.
Oh.
Hey, Tim, has Aaron gotten out to see the banners?
No, I just saw that yesterday that they went up. So
I'm going to the store this morning.
oh, she's going to the store this morning, so she'll see them.
Tell her to go see the banners. They look great.
Yeah, I'm excited.
I meant to tag her. I took a picture and I forgot to tag her.
That's okay, but I'm excited.
She says that's okay.
Okay.
You will see them this morning.
I couldn't remember if this was the ones that haven't gone out, that want either spring or fall. This would be the very first time.
These haven't gone up. I've never seen these.
Okay, so these are the first time the spring
Yeah.
ones have gone up.
Yeah.
I don't know if I've seen them yet.
Kara, do you do palm readings? Is that what that says behind you?
I do in my spare time. No, I'm kidding. No, it's like this real funky piece of art.
Okay.
And I work for a health organization, so I always have to be covering up the cigarette. So
I just thought that was like something you did for fun. Like
no,
for
you know,
fun.
it'd be a good side hustle, but it's not one I've explored yet.
Sounds like a good growth opportunity. New home-based business.
Tell me about my wealth line. I want to see if that's showing up.
I was laughing though, because I was targeted for like a palm reading app. And I was like, well, they're taking palm reading into the times of coronavirus. So you don't even have to have physical touch anymore.
All right. Who are we waiting on? Do we have anybody else that's...
Pam, Andrew, John, Rebecca,
Yeah.
Earbob. Earbob says he can only be on for about the first 30 minutes.
Okay. Maybe we'll skip ahead and do his
Do
section.
him first.
Yeah.
Yeah, because the I'm sorry, you're the BDC. Sustainability on Monday was asking about what this potential partnership was. So it'd be good to clarify.
Yeah. We'll see what our Bob had done on it so far. So I talked to him a little bit last week, just over email. So I'm not sure how much he's explored it yet.
I think they're willing partners. So
yeah, good. Hey, Pam.
Hi. How you doing?
Doing well. Was he said he was coming on in the beginning Like
Yes.
the first 3 minutes? Okay.
I was texting him because I hadn't heard from him and discovered that I was actually texting his wife.
Oh, really?
She finally responded, I don't know how you got my number, but this is your Bob's wife. I said, oh, I'm sorry. That's what's on the sheet.
That's funny. I usually just I call him at his office, but I know he's busy with patients too.
Yeah, he's kind of running solo.
Yeah. That's what it sounded like. Morning, Rebecca. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you. How are you?
Doing well.
Hey, Jennifer, great event you're putting on. Good
Yeah.
to see you.
Thank you. Yeah, today's the last day.
I know, it's the last day. I was
I'm
going to be on.
exhausted.
I bet
We
you
have
are.
like, it's amazing that like in person, we usually get about 1,000 people registered, but you know, you've been there. There's never more than 50 in the room at a time. And we've had 2,000 people register, and every session has had at least 125 people, which is just
Wow.
amazing. Like
Wow,
even
that's
the spoken word poetry person from yesterday, usually our artistic, like theatrical ones only get like 30 people, and that had 175 towards the end, but I'm kind of blown away by how many people. So I think we might keep it virtual.
What is the plan, if any, to put on YouTube, on the website, whatever? I've had a couple of people who are hear about things and they're so upset they missed them.
Everyone except Patrice Cullors agreed to have their thing recorded. So
Okay.
all of the recorded sessions are going to be at the event website, I think for 30 days, and then we'll have them on YouTube.
Oh, excellent.
Yeah.
You can still see them on the event site.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we'll have the videos there.
Oh, good, good. Because there were some I just didn't have time.
Yeah.
Because of other stuff I had to do. But
yeah, there was one like the power of allyship that I wanted to do, but like I had the finance department calling me about my budget for that whole hour, so I just couldn't listen to any of it. So
yeah.
Well, so I don't know. Should we get started and then I don't know if you had something come up. Did you hear from him at all, Fran?
No, I got not this morning.
Okay.
So Fran, if he doesn't arrive, because I have a 9 o'clock meeting too, will you just send me some contact information? And I'll see if, since I'm also the liaison to sustainability, I'll see if I can't just get him to the Sustainability Commission as well to talk about what this is, and maybe that's
Okay.
the next step forward.
All right, will do.
Sounds good. Why don't we go ahead and get started? Let's call the order, and if he comes on, then we'll jump ahead and see what he's got on that. But did everybody get a chance to review the minutes? Do we have a motion to approve the minutes?
I motion to approve.
A second.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
All right, good deal. So the minutes are approved, and then I know we've got a couple of exciting things in the beginning. I mean, as far as visitor comments and then new commission members. So anything as far as any visitor comments out of the gate?
You have no visitors, or at
No.
least sorry,
No visitors. Yeah, I guess.
off to the side attendees.
Yeah. Well, why don't you guys introduce yourself as far as the the new members? So.
Hi, my name. I'm having some difficulties. Can you hear me?
Yep, we can hear you, John.
I own the Frisco and Old Orchard and Civil Alchemy, and then the new Annex Coffee and Foods, and play landlord over here a bit too. So happy to be jumping on the Old Orchard Commission currently. So happy to be sitting in and doing what you guys do here.
Good deal. Welcome.
Thanks.
Well, good morning. I'll jump in. I am Marie Peoples. I'm the new city manager at Webster Groves, and just looking forward to meeting each of you, hopefully in person one day soon.
Hopefully sooner than later. So
Absolutely.
Does everybody else want to go around and just introduce themselves too? Those of you that haven't met John, I'll start real quick. I mean, John, I'm Mike Pincus. The chair right now of the BDC. I work for Federated Insurance, so do commercial insurance, but I've been on the BDC for several years now. So, Jennifer, you want to introduce yourself?
Nice to meet you, Mike.
Good to meet you too.
Tim Delante, Zoe Zadek, president of Old Webster Trade Association, also on the taxation for Old Webster, and obviously part of this.
Good deal.
I'm Rebecca
Yeah.
now, and I'm the director of the Chamber of Commerce and proud alum of Webster Grove High School, having grown up in Webster Groves.
I'm an alum as well too, and I went to Webster Groves. I didn't have to say that though.
I'm Kara Bolin. I'm a citizen at large. I work for SIU Medicine, and I previously served as press secretary to the city of St. Louis.
I'm Jennifer Starkey. I'm the Director of Community Engagement at Webster University.
Good deal. So, as far as the
Pam,
old
we didn't get
business,
Pam. Did we get
Pam.
Pam?
oh, I'm sorry, Pam. I didn't mean to skip you. It's confusing because all the windows, I don't know who went and who didn't. I should be marking you off with check marks.
Pam Niehaus, I'm a community volunteer.
And I'm Fran Sudicum. I support the BDC as well as the 3 commission taxing districts. And I also support the Old Webster Trade Association.
And I am Laura Arnold. I'm finishing up my 3rd year on the city council.
Hi, John. I'm Joanne Jadali. I am the interim city manager. I was the interim city manager. I apologize. Dr. Peoples is now the city manager. That was embarrassing that I just said that. I am the finance director for the city of Webster Groves, and I had the privilege of actually speaking with your daughter about a week or 2 ago. She interviewed me, so that was rather wonderful.
Oh, nice. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
And thank you.
All right, good deal. Mara, you want to introduce yourself? I know you guys know each other, but
Unknows me, Mara Perry, Director of Planning and Development.
oh, good deal. Well, as far as our old business, I know Jennifer, we were working on the video project. How are we coming along on that?
It's moving along. I checked in with the students. I helped them just with some introductions to all the businesses that we were doing, and we heard from everyone. Schnars was super happy to be involved, and for John and Marie, we did a video project last semester where they did one on style in Webster Groves, our kind of advanced video production class, and dining in Webster Groves. And this semester they're going to be doing spring planting and getting your garden ready for spring. So they're going to Maypop, Rolling Ridge, Schnars, and Rogers. I did not hear back from Rogers when I did the introductions with them, but one of the students who's doing the videos, his friend who's in the School of Communications with him works at Rogers. So he was not particularly concerned about being able to make a contact there. And he was pretty sure they were going to make that happen. But he said that they've finished pre-production and they should start production in the next few weeks. So I think end of March, beginning of April, we'll have that video, I'm hoping.
Good deal. That's great. The subcommittee update, I know I read the notes. I don't know if everybody read the notes on that, but does somebody want to go through that that's on the subcommittee? Carrie, you want to talk about it a little bit?
Sure. I think Fran did a great job providing a synopsis and some kind of background information. But so we had a subcommittee, and attendees included John Barr, who's here, Tim, Lisa Dolan, Alan Nearing, me, Rebecca Now, Mayor Welch, Laura Arnold, and Fran. And basically we talked about how we could improve the Webster Groves business community. And a common theme that came out was that I think we needed to have more communication, more coordination, and unite the various business districts more or less under one umbrella to project a more unified Webster Groves to outsiders. We thought that would be especially effective when we do events, because sometimes the events get so overcrowded in one particular district, and also because we want all of the districts to feel like equals and to feel included into some of these events. And then I mean, just to improve kind of the business community. It seemed like there were some districts that felt somewhat underrepresented in some of the kind of more formal organizations that Webster has. So we thought that maybe that would be a way that we could focus on coordinating, introducing the business owners to each other, really kind of helping that sense of community within the business districts. And then going from there, and also just listening to the individuals and getting more feedback from business owners and residents in what they want to see going forward. So I think it was a really good conversation. It laid the groundwork, absolutely, but I think there's more action items that we'll need to take as we move forward.
Good deal. What are your guys' next steps?
So we have another meeting after this. We're going to talk about plans going forward, whether it's some sort of incentivization program to get more people to apply to be on both these more formal commissions and just to be participants within their communities. Assigning liaisons between the business district commissions, forums so that business owners can get to know each other, provide feedback, and then maybe work as we, get back into creating events to really be that overarching Webster Groves unifier rather than just helping each commission and each district operate independently. And I think we'll have more action items as we go forward. The next meeting is, I believe, early next week.
Good deal. That's great, though. I mean, I'm excited about this. I think unifying Webster Groves, unifying the business districts, and those that aren't in the business districts, like you said, as far as some of the ones that are kind of on the outside and are maybe feeling left out, I think that's a great thing. So, does anybody else have anything to add that's not on the subcommittee that wants to talk about it for a little bit?
No, just thanks to Fran and everybody else. I thought it was great to see a whole summary of what had been going on the past few years. It was very helpful.
Couple quick updates on the notes where there were some question marks. Just a reminder, the Facebook page is actually not managed by Creative Entourage. It has Fran, John Sauter, and Stacy Swiderska as admins. So they are the admins. It's managed by business owners, not by Creative Entourage. And then just an FYI, I know there's a talk about the restaurant guide was hard to find, or was, I guess they said it was in the map center. Just a reminder, you guys were part of our digital map. So there is a digital map that is mobile friendly, and it is on there. It's on the website. So it might just need to be put out in a different location. So just a reminder of that when you guys spent a lot of time helping us get that going. And it does need a couple updates with a few of the businesses that, restaurants that have closed, and a couple of the new that are coming.
I actually had a question about the survey that was included in the documents that Fran sent. So that was from 2017, right?
Yes.
And there hasn't been anything more recent or any plans to do something more updated, right?
No.
Okay.
I'd like to insert just a few things, if I may, please, or ask some questions. So with regard to those minutes from the meeting, the subcommittee meeting, there was reference to a concern about the inside newsletter, the quarterly newsletter, and that businesses weren't receiving those. And if that's the situation, I need those businesses to give me their addresses, please, because that's not the intent. We work on a mailing list so that not only all of our residents should be receiving it, but also all of our businesses. We don't send it individually to places like Laclede Groves. We send a quantity to Laclede Groves because that would just be a large number of individuals who might receive them who might not necessarily be able to read those anyway. But we still try to reach out to all of our residents and our business owners. So if there's somebody, please let me know. You can email me or call me, and I'd be happy to make sure that they're on the list for this, for the future, which will be in March. The next one will come out in March.
All right, good deal. Anybody else, anything to add? on the subcommittee update? No, okay. No, that's great. Hopping into new business, I know, or Bob, you're limited on time. Do you, and I don't want to put you on the spot right now, but do you want to hop ahead and talk about what you'd like to do on ESG with the Sustainability Committee? That way, if you we've talked about that.
Sure. And sorry again for being late. I talked to the head of the Sustainability Commission. The idea was something that kind of came from the discussion that's kind of eating at me in terms of what can we do to draw folks to Webster in the hopes of driving business, using other opportunities to drive business. And one of the things that kind of spoke to me a little bit was what the Sustainability Commission is trying to accomplish and how we can use the momentum behind kind of the sustainability governance progress that's trying to be that people are trying to make, and how we can use that to drive our businesses. Specifically, I noticed one of the questions I had was, what are we doing with the contingent of folks that ride bikes through Webster, particularly on the weekends? Is there something we can do to encourage more of that? How can we use that to drive some of the retail businesses to capture some of their spending potential? So I talked to them specifically about if there was a plan for, if they had made any proposals about bike lanes, and if they had that, conversation about bike infrastructure. And they said there was a plan. It's been tabled and it's kind of like sitting on a shelf. But I did want to hopefully talk to them and see what, if anything, we can collaborate on with the Sustainability Commission to see if there's something that can benefit the business community in terms of, everything from being more like showing more how as a city or as individual businesses we're employing or trying to be more sustainable, to bike lanes, to a more pedestrian friendly infrastructure. But I feel like part of that conversation has already been going with the development that's being proposed. And so I just kind of wanted to chime in with them to see if they had anything to contribute to our discussion that's kind of always ongoing. And I had talked to you about that to see if there's anything I needed to do formally, or if we needed to, do anything to make it so that I was, it was okay for me to talk to them and share any progress that was made in that discussion.
Yeah, I think this is great. Well, and Laura, you said that they had their meeting earlier this week, and you brought up to them having kind of a joint task force type of deal, right? Was it something along those lines? Hope you're muted.
Yeah, thanks. First of all, there's been a leadership change on the Sustainability Commission. So Jamie Hasselmeyer is the new chair. And one of the things that I think maybe is there's been a little bit of a misunderstanding. Walkable, bikeable is actually one of their priorities for this upcoming year. They want to take that plan that's been sitting on the shelf and figure out what can we actually implement from that plan. So the timing is really good for that. So I think, and so I think anytime, Bob, that you want to come, I would have to look up the next meeting. It's a Monday, 4 o'clock, third Monday of the month. And I'm sure that they want to put you on the agenda because I know that they were all very interested in having this conversation, because I think it makes it even more compelling to think if the environmental benefits can also be business benefits for our community.
Right.
Could I make a quick request? Could only the people who are speaking be, could everybody else mute except the people who are speaking? Because there's a big echo and it's hard to hear.
Yeah.
I think the problem is the echo is the Webster Groves one. I went up to check on it. If I mute it, it stops recording. So I mean, I can mute it. I know Fran's taking minutes. I think I'm gonna mute it.
I'll check with Steve Bader. Just give me a
Okay.
second.
Okay. We had this happen earlier in the week and I thought I fixed it, but
I don't think it's happened before though.
it
What's-
hasn't. It just started this week.
Huh.
It must be me, the new guy.
It probably is, John. I'll tell you what, while we're waiting, for Bob, Andrew, you guys were a little bit late, and John is a new commission member. Do you guys just want to introduce yourselves real quick to him?
Sure, thanks. I'll spare you the details, but it involves childcare related calamity in my house this morning. John, I think we've met before a couple times, not well acquainted, but I'm Andrew Scavato, relatively new to the commission as well. But I'm an attorney and partner at the Stinson Law Firm here, and I live in Webster, obviously. And it's good to meet you.
Thank you. Nice to see you.
Hello, I'm Rabab Majid. I'm a dentist in Webster and I live in Webster. I've been on the business commission for, I don't know, time is crazy now, but it feels like, I think it's been 2 years. But I'm, still obviously wanting to find a way to help the commission as much as I can, and glad to see that there's more talent coming into the fold.
Nice to meet you, Bob.
I should add, I recall, I think I've discussed this with you before, John, a long time ago, but I'm a big music nerd and a big music fan, and John deserves praise for a lot of things, one of which is bringing really good live music to Webster Groves on a regular basis. It is different and it is fantastic. So thanks.
Thanks. We hope to, I'm not sure we're going to get that going again. That's
right. That's understood, but
right. When we all jam together shoulder to shoulder in sweaty places again.
Yeah. So like I said,
later.
Deserves a lot of credit for a lot of things, but I do, special attention for that. That's a very cool contribution, things considered, and hopefully we can get that going again someday. So thanks.
Thank you.
Good deal. Well, the echo's gone, so that's good also. So next meeting, hopefully, or Bob, you can hop on with Sustainability Commission because they meet before us. Laura, they meet earlier in the week, right? And so we'll have some updates there on what we can do going forward with that too. So as far as new business, Joanne, do you want to go ahead on the budget?
Sure thing. So I'm going to share my screen. We don't need a decision on it today. I wanted today just to be a discussion of what we typically do. And then at our next meeting in March would be the time for decisions and then making that request of the city manager for what we want. So I'll share my screen. Can you see this okay?
Yes.
So I know it's a lot of numbers and a lot of information, but I want you just to look at the top right now. And so you will see that we have a line item for holiday funding, and the number is usually very consistent except for 2021, which is the current year that we're in right now. For the 2020 holiday, we were much lower, and that of course was because of the COVID pandemic. So I'm recommending that we put $8,500 back in it from the Business Development Commission. But now I want to take you down just below for just a second and look, the holiday funding provided by the 3 business districts in total is $8,500 as well. So if you look at this, I don't know if you can see my mouse or not sliding across here, but down at the bottom where it says holiday funding, $17,000. It's the portion that the city from the BDC provides of $8,500, and the portion from the 3 business districts of $8,500, which makes it $17,000. And I'll provide more details in a few minutes on what exactly holiday funding is for those of you who are unfamiliar, and also an idea for us as we look forward to this holiday season, what we want to do and what we may not want to do. The second item on the Business Development Commission budget is media funding throughout the year. So that is extra In the past, if we needed to hire Creative Entourage to do additional social media posts, or if we use them to do a holiday ad or other items in there that we didn't have funding for, this is the line that we used for that purpose. The third line down, CVC solicitation membership, that is with the Convention and Visitors Center in St. Louis, and several businesses participate with in this, and Fran coordinates that for us, as well as Mara. The fourth line down is the pay for Fran that the Business Development Commission pays for. And unfortunately, we were hoping for some additional work for the 2021 holiday season like we did the prior year. And unfortunately that didn't happen with the holiday calendar that Fran had helped put together. And then finally, miscellaneous is just other items that we might need a small amount of funding for. On the other, so if I go down below just to see how we, the Business Development Commission, works with the business districts, I wanted you to see down below the media funding. 10,670 is not only the 2,000 from the Business Development Commission, but 8,670, which is right here, from the 3 business districts. And then the other items, which I have up above, the CVC solicitation, the admin support, and miscellaneous, is this all other items. So our total budget had been for 2021, the same as what I have in the proposed for 22, which is a total, including if we are able to get the same funding from the 3 business districts, it's $35,566. So here is the page that has a better explanation of just the holiday funding. And you can see that there are a number of items here. And I've tried to go back all the way to 2017 so you can have an idea for several years of what we've been doing. So we had been using Fox 2 KTVI for our holiday ad, but for this current year, we used KMOV. I didn't change the word in, I didn't change on this page that it's KMOV for 2021, but that is what we did. I haven't updated this for 2022 only because I don't know where we want our numbers to be and what we want. So I'm just providing you what we had last year on this page. One year in 2019, we did a billboard that didn't seem of interest in any other year. And so we haven't proceeded forward on that. The Webster Kirkwood Times, we do 2 half-page ads during the holiday seasons. There are also gift drawings, and then the TV ad, the radio ad on 102.5. We have a graphic artist who helps us with some of the layout of our items. And then the holiday calendar that I mentioned last year, which Fran mostly managed that piece, was $4,400. That was all of the costs related to that, including the printing costs. And then we also had that inserted in the Webster Kirkwood Times for one of the weeks. And then finally, the additional social media costs. So that's all I have. I didn't know if there was anything particularly that you'd like to discuss in the total budget, or if you'd like to look and chat about anything regarding the holiday budget.
I'm just looking at it real quick. Does anybody have any questions on it? And we have next meeting to address this again, as far as looking at changes or
Absolutely.
asking for changes.
I wouldn't say I have any particular concerns about the budget. I am interested in a conversation, and I think that this is probably not the most appropriate forum, but about how the media planner selects what media outlets we advertise on. From what I am looking at right now, it seems that the audience skews a little bit more mature and white. And I wonder if there's a way we could diversify that a little bit.
So actually, it was not, we did not have a media, well, I'm not sure. We did not use the same person that we had used in prior years due to budget reasons. And so I and a few other of our BDC members formed a subcommittee, and we decided to go with KMOV Channel 4 instead of Channel 2 for the 2020 holiday season. Is that what you were referring to, just TV, or are you referring to other means as well?
Radio too.
Okay.
Kara, I would just say when it comes time in September, I think is when we've done it in the past, join the subcommittee, and I think you could add a lot to it.
Yeah, I'd love to be part of that. That'd be great.
I have just a quick question with the media. Do you guys do any tracking? Like, is there like to kind of figure out who's winding up on the places from different ads? Like, is there any way that you've been able to track that? Like,
so in prior years, we used someone and she was able to tell us whom usually the outreach was for on that particular TV channel.
yeah, I was just even wondering, like, if you knew, like, I know that for a while when we were doing radio ads, they would use different links, like webster.edu/yourfuture, Webster, and so if somebody heard it on KEZK, they would be using the one URL. And if somebody heard it on, the 1057, they would use a different URL. So we kind of knew this is how many visitors we get from this radio station and this other one. So I wasn't sure if we did anything like that to kind of see how many people we get from this outlet versus another outlet.
That is a very good question.
It's a great idea, though. I think that's part of the problem is that we've not been able to measure anything other than social media, like click-throughs, and then we can get some data from that. But as far as TV, radio,
and I know that's difficult. We even do that with the diversity conference. I've had that problem now is that we've done like Business Journal and St. Louis American and St. Louis Public Radio. And then when we do the post survey, like, how did you find out about it? People are just like, media. And you're like, yeah. We ask for more and they don't always tell you. So I know that that's always a challenge to kind of track what ad is resonating and where with people.
That has been our challenge. One of the things that I appreciate so much about social media and specifically with Facebook is we can track things a little bit easier that way and get more statistics than we can with some of our other media outlets.
Yeah, I think that's a good conversation though. Jennifer, what you added in, and Kara, certainly what you added in too. I think we can make some changes this year, like August, September. I think both of you guys should be on that subcommittee. And then hopefully we get more feedback for future years as well. So I think that's great.
I mean, amount wise, it looks good. I think it's just those drill down details that we have questions about, but I don't have any issues with any of the amounts that you've got requested.
And I like the Facebook descriptions too, but does that describe the diversity of the audience or simply the number of hits?
I believe we used to get more information from Facebook than we do. Isn't that correct, Mara? I mean, weren't we able to get a little bit more demographic information, but now with privacy settings, we can't quite get as much?
Yeah, and in fact, it's getting worse. It's changing again and removing even more. There's going to be more problems where it won't be able to reach as much. But yes, early on, we used to get a lot of, here's the age range, male and female, how far out do they live, a bunch of those. We don't get that anymore.
Well, as a lot of you know, the thing about using a media buyer is you can usually tap right into the diversity and a little bit more about who the audience is. I'm not advocating going back to that. It's just that, over the years, I have found that helpful in various jobs and also in volunteer work. simply because the stations do it for you. You just know, and that's how you buy.
Well, I think we have an opportunity to create a really nice package for this fall. And I'm really excited about everyone who wants to participate in the subcommittee. I think it'll be a great opportunity.
And I have noticed that sadly, since it's been such a bad year for media, they're willing to throw way more at you for less money, which is bad for them, nice for us.
Yeah, and hopefully this next holiday season, we're a little bit closer to back to normal. I know one of the other committees that that I'm on, we talk about that a little bit more, just based on what it is. It's Mid-County YMCA, and they're targeting, you know, fall and early winter as a time where they think they're going to see numbers come back a lot more than what they are now. So obviously it's not just for, you know, for the Y, it's everything else that people have been starved and not getting, you know, as far as the social interaction over the last year. So it should be good. Well, good deal. Joanne, were you going to talk about use tax as well?
Yes, I'd like to. And I had this presentation I wanted to give, but I'm not sure we have enough time for the entire presentation. What I'd like to know first is how many of you are familiar with the use tax? And I mean, do you understand what it is? Because if you understand that part, then perhaps I don't need to go in as much detail. But if there's not an understanding about the use tax, I'd like to explain it just for a few minutes.
I would take an explanation.
Okay.
I would too. I don't understand the whole thing.
Okay, so I will just go through my PowerPoint rather quickly with you. I need to share my screen. And I will not go through all of my slides. But first of all, the use tax, as it explains here, is imposed on the purchase of goods, Missouri goods and businesses from out-of-state vendors. So if you are purchasing an item online, but you're purchasing it out of state, and let me just go through the slides. I don't want to mess up the explanation here. I'm so sorry. So this is the explanation that I have for why we need a use tax. And it's because it creates fair competition for our local brick and mortar stores. And it also allows the city to once again receive the revenues that we have lost. So let me just give an example here. So if I am purchasing something from Kind Soap, for example, and I'm going online to purchase it, I would pay the same amount of sales tax as a Missouri resident than I would if I went into the store and actually purchased it there. But what we're trying to do is get that type of tax that when people purchase furniture or fixtures or large quantities of things from out-of-state vendors that don't have a connection to Missouri, they're not paying any sales tax. And so we're at least trying to collect something called the use tax for those purposes. This is the comparison between the sales tax and the use tax. So right now, if you purchase something like that from out of state, you would only pay the use tax that the state of Missouri has, not anywhere else, because St. Louis County does not have a use tax, and currently the city of Webster Groves does not. But if the use tax was put in place, then it would become 5.725% that you'd pay on that. The difference, of course, is that the sales tax, again, that you pay in Webster Groves on items is 238%. So why wouldn't you save yourself some money and do online where you don't have that connection and you don't have to pay all that sales tax? And so that's why we're hoping to collect some of that money that we never have been able to collect before.
John, can I ask a quick question?
Yes.
This use tax would strictly be Webster Groves. It's not like the pooling that we have on sales tax with the other municipalities, correct?
Correct. So for example, the city of Creve Coeur does not have a use tax. So they would not get, they are not allowed to collect this for themselves. The city of Clayton, however, does. And it is quite beneficial, I will tell you, for cities like Clayton. They're now collecting over $1 million just in use tax alone that they were not able to collect before when they did not have the use tax. Now, of course, they have a lot more commercial businesses in Clayton. Another comparison is Kirkwood. They are, of course, more commercial than they are, but they received over $600,000 last year, and this year it's already $700,000. So it's quite a significant difference. And I think a lot of it has to do with the move, the constant progression to more and more online purchases of items. So this use tax is with regard to purchases made out of state. And the use tax is in effect at the Missouri location where the property is delivered. So I think there's confusion there because people believe, some people are confused and think that if you're purchasing something online, it becomes a use tax, even if it's within Missouri, and that's not the case. If it's in Missouri, it's a sales tax, not a use tax. The weird thing with the use tax is that the collection is not like a sales tax where it's much easier to collect. So the Missouri Department of Revenue is involved in this process. The interesting thing is, though, it explains the whole thing with Nexus, and I'm not going to try to explain that today because we just don't have enough time for that. But interestingly, there's a requirement that is self-reporting. So if you're purchasing things from out of state and it's over $2,000, the expectation is that you would self-report. But they don't have a requirement. It's more of a encouragement. So that's something that we need to get in place, where we have more things with the state legislature impacting how the whole sales tax item and use tax item is done. There's not a lot of, it's not concrete yet. And unfortunately, Missouri and one other state are the only two states who do not have a use tax. So we really are behind the 8 ball in this. I just listed here several cities who do have a use tax right now. And then this slide I think is helpful because it also explains whether you would pay, whether or not you would pay a use tax. So of course, if you're buying clothing, groceries, or goods from local retailers, that's a sales tax. It's not a use tax. A takeout meal from a local restaurant, sales tax, not use tax, and so on and so forth. I think the confusion is, again, furnitures and fixtures from an out-of-state vendor is, but if you're thinking about the large, the large organizations such as Target or Home Depot, again, they still have their location in Missouri, so they're required to charge the sales tax in Missouri, not the use tax. So that, I believe, is where there's a lot of confusion and misunderstanding. But if you're buying from an organization that is headquartered in Iowa, for example, and it's not, they don't have a location at all in Missouri, then that would be different. Then it would be a use tax, not a sales tax. Does that make any sense? Do you have questions? I know it's confusing, I do.
Yeah, I had a question. So the little guy in Iowa that's selling you something into Missouri, they probably don't have the software that knows the use tax in every single municipality across the United States. But I understand Amazon and some of the big players do. Can you talk to that a little bit?
Yes, so if it's the little guy in Iowa and they're only charging or selling you candles, which I buy some candles from a place called Milk House in Iowa, and it's only, $50 for, a container of candles. They're not going to be doing that because it's, again, a $2,000, it must be at least $2,000 that they have to worry about the use tax on. And I don't think they're going to be selling anybody that many candles at a time.
But Amazon, I understand, and the big players have the software all set up for every 48 of the 50 states. Is that correct?
I believe that's correct. The larger organizations, it's so easy just to key in and get that information clarified. And I will tell you that there are organizations that work for the larger entities. And so we will get contacted from time to time and say, okay, what has your sales tax rate changed? And I'm trying to remember how often that happens, but I will get emails, phone calls, et cetera, just double checking on that information from various organizations. And so I'm certain that the larger ones have this all set up.
I had another question about the state of Missouri. It looked like you mentioned in the PowerPoints that Missouri has the use tax in place.
Yes.
Is that the same thing as the Wayfair tax? I thought it was still being debated.
No, it is not the same thing as Wayfair.
Okay.
It's just use tax.
So what's the difference?
So that's a good question. I'll have to get more information because
dollar of items, because if you're saying use tax is only over $2,000, isn't the Wayfair tax probably taxing everything?
I believe so, but I don't have specific details on the difference between Wayfair and use tax, but I'd be happy to get that information and share it with everyone.
Okay.
That's an important question.
So if this use tax is passed next month in April, almost a month away, a little over, we could start collecting these funds immediately, or?
No, I believe so. I believe it's September 1st.
Okay.
There has to be a few months time between it's actually put in place and then the communication is delivered to everyone so they understand and they have time to implement it into their systems.
And these funds collected would go into the general fund, is that correct?
I don't believe the city council has completely made a decision on that, but I will let Dr. People speak about that. And I also think she has a few things that she wants to share. And so I don't want to talk about the whole topic myself. I'd like her to insert some things because she's got some great input.
Okay.
Thank you, Joanne. You did a great job on a complicated topic, and I'm not sure if I do have great input or not. The questions that everybody asked, thank you, because it helps us formulate what we need to dig further into. And so in terms of the Wayfair question, it's my understanding that if we don't pass this use tax, if the state of Missouri does join the other states with Wayfair, we would not be able to benefit at that point in time. So this really is an opportunity to help us in the future. And I think some of the key points for this, and that we are working on some educational campaigns and information to get out, and Joanne's done a great job on that, so you'll start seeing some of that. But it's for people to remember that they're not going to be taxed twice. I mean, that really is the key takeaway. Their local tax isn't going to go up if they go out to eat, and all those different examples that Joanne gave. There's not a heftier tax, and that this really is, it is meant to, it sounds kind of cliche, but it is meant to help level the playing field for local businesses so that there's not the incentive to shop out of state or online. And if that still occurs, that those dollars do come back to the city, which is incredibly helpful. And at this point, it does go to general fund. City council, of course, has some decisions to make on that. The majority of the other cities across Missouri, and certainly in greater St. Louis, have dedicated a portion just for infrastructure services, which are always needed. Infrastructure services do not decrease, whether we're talking streets, fire, police, there's always needs there. But it also gives the opportunity to do some special projects that community members and council want. And so it's helpful. Cities don't have an opportunity to bring in more revenue usually unless there is a local tax or unless it's through grants. And grants are just so competitive and they time out, as you all know. So it's good for one-time projects, but not necessarily sustainable and ongoing things. So I will leave it at that, and we will be getting more information to each of you.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Peoples. Thank you, Joanne.
Absolutely. Councilman Arnold, did you want to share anything?
I can get myself unmuted. That's my problem this morning. I did just want to share one other thing. And I think most of you know this. We as a council and as a city cannot advocate for people to vote yes on this. Our job has to be educational rather than in terms of advocacy. So I'm just going to say to you all, you are our best advocates in terms of talking about how this levels the playing field for you with online retailers. And so the degree to which you share that message, we are all better off in making this successful. So if you don't hear a lot from council members saying, yay, go vote for this, it's not for lack of support, it's because we're legally restricted in how we talk about it. So we're going to have to rely on other people to really make some of these arguments about why this is good for our community. And we unanimously voted to put it on the ballot. So I think that says something about what we think about the benefits to our community, business, as well as what Dr. Peoples talked about, some kind of infrastructure and other projects we might be able to do that we would otherwise not be able to. So thank you in advance for any work you do on behalf of this.
I have one other question. There are certain elements in the community that are anti any tax and feel like when a new tax, and I don't know if this is a new tax per se, but a new tax is proposed, what are we going to cut? And I ask that to say, what would your comeback be? And this is anyone in the group. What would your comeback be to one of those people that say, if you're going to raise taxes, you have to cut taxes somewhere else? How would you respond to that?
Mine, I've already had this conversation a couple of times, actually. And my response is, this is not a new tax. This is simply putting our small businesses on a level playing field with online retailers. We are not asking you to do anything online that you don't already do for our local businesses.
Thank you.
And I think that's a really important point. I mean, when I was with the city, we had the fight to maintain the earnings tax, which is a 1% tax for people who live or work in the city. It's a lot of money for people. They see it come out of their paycheck every month. And just the education of where that money goes to, what we would have to cut, maybe not in taxes, obviously, but in services, or what we're missing out on. Just the educational component, I think, is the most important kind of key message in any sort of tax conversation. And Joan, if you could share that PowerPoint, maybe we could pull some of that messaging and the correct verbiage out of it, so we're advocating for the same correct thing. I think that would be helpful.
I have a question. Does anyone know if there's a any type of anyone who's pushing this, like where there's like a Facebook page that can be shared across small businesses? And I think those things get seen pretty good. And then people can say just like the no on Proposition 3 kind of thing. And maybe even some of the small businesses can put little signs up in their stores. I think the people that at least that I feel are supporting a lot of the Webster Groves businesses are probably wanting small business to survive. And, that internet companies do have an unfair advantage already in other ways. So does anyone know if there's anything like that that we could be sharing around?
We do have several things in the works. Thank you for asking that, and thank you for your willingness to help us advocate in ways we can't. We've got 5,000 3x5 informational cards being printed, and they will be to us this week. We would love some assistance distributing those as well. We do have some yard signs coming hopefully next week as well, and the mayor will be doing a video that will be pushed on Facebook, and we've asked for a local merchant to help do that as well. But that gets back to what Councilwoman Arnold said. Our materials are factual. They're not incredibly glossy. They look nice, don't get me wrong, but they don't say vote yay or nay. So it still really comes with that push, if you will, as you're handing out materials. So greatly appreciate it. And as soon as we get those in hand, we will be in contact, and we'll be happy to deliver those as well.
Yeah, I appreciate that. I think that getting linked to some online stuff and then some signs in stores would be super helpful for everybody to know. Thank you.
I think so
For
too.
what it's worth, if the city, if the administration and the council is interested in public advocacy to some extent, for what it's worth, I'd be willing to discuss volunteering and helping. That's a good match for my skill set. Okay. I understand Wayfair. I understand this up and down, and fielding questions, anticipating and fielding questions from the community and making the key points would be a good match for my skill set, and I'd be willing to help with that and would love to. So just
find you.
And the chamber is behind it too. So we're ready to advocate.
Great, thank you.
Good deal. Oh, Mara, do you want to go ahead and do business district updates really quick? Do we have anything to add? I know we're kind of running out of time.
You're fine. I think just if you look back at the minutes, everyone's still moving along. All the new businesses are coming. So you're good to go with all of those. All 3 business districts have been focusing on budget. So that's pretty much what we've been doing this last month since we last talked. And then we did finally get the MoDOT go ahead for our streetscape in Old Orchard. So that will be on the council soon with the contractor that's been selected with a notice to proceed. And then we would be able to start the construction of that one. We're hoping to possibly start it down at the Novel Neighbor end first and make our way back the other way, because the very last block is one of the ones that we're still trying to negotiate what they might be able to do for Lona's Little Eats. And they're postponing their hearing until the April Plan Commission meeting. They're not going to be on for March. So that streetscape, and then Crossroads is working on their streetscape. They have another updated plan they're going to try to go to St. Louis County with. We were also told there's maybe some other paving. I know you all know that Missouri American Water is doing a lot of stuff, and they're going to be impacting more streets soon too. And we'll just try to keep people updated on that. But that's probably it in a minute and a half.
You're fine.
Are they gonna repave Big Bend?
Yes, they have to.
Okay.
Yeah. And then apparently they're also going to be doing other sections of Big Bend that we were just informed on. So as soon as we know a little bit better what their timing is, we will let everybody know.
Big Bend feels like a cobblestone road, like in some spots.
I'm sorry, my dogs are barking at the American Water trucks leaving the parking lot behind the church right now.
Yeah.
All right. Good deal.
Yeah.
Laura, do you have anything to add as far as council updates? I know you said you had a meeting at 9, so I know you don't have a lot of
Yeah,
time.
I'll just take 30 seconds here. As you probably have heard, you may now drive your golf cart around the city of Webster Groves after months of consideration. Please make sure you follow all the safety features, have insurance, and are only licensed drivers. We are expecting information from Development Strategies about the Old Webster, North Old Webster development, what they're now calling Douglas Hill. There was a holdup from the county on some of the information that was needed. Mara knows way more than this, so if she wants to give you a longer explanation after, she can. But Development Strategies now apparently has what they need, so they are on track to get to us, I think, sooner rather than later, which means there's some decisions upcoming about that, and probably we will begin within the next couple of months. I feel like we say this all the time. Public hearings about that. And then also 4th of July update, the parade has been moved to the 3rd of July because the 4th is on a Sunday. It's to avoid disrupting services. There are at least 5 churches on the route. The Community Days Carnival is still undecided because of some issues with the school district and where we might site that carnival this year. And then also there are plans for those of you who are waiting. I don't know, maybe Kara, you're interested especially in this. We expect to open the pool this summer, and we will do so under whatever guidelines St. Louis County has in place at that time. So how we're going to do it, we don't know yet, but the intention is to go ahead and open again this summer and run as many recreation programs as we possibly can under the constraints of the guidelines provided by the county.
Good deal.
I think that does it.
All right, thanks. Does anybody else have anything to add or anything that that you want to see on next agenda? I think we had a really good meeting, and I think we do have some good items already that we'll be following up on. So, but anybody else, any ideas? Good deal. Well, great meeting, everyone. Next meeting will be March 25th. If nobody has anything else, let's go ahead and adjourn. So you all have a great day.
Thanks, you too.
Thanks, everybody.